Hi, you guys. I'm Eileen Myles, and I'm excited that Chelsea Girls was published by Madison Sykes, and so I'm going to read a few minutes of it. This is the beginning of the book. Bath, Maine. I really had no damn business there. I mean, why am I living with my ex-girlfriend and her new girlfriend and her ex-girlfriend? How could that possibly be comfortable? I could be writing this from a jail cell. Funny, huh? Ted and Alice, before I left, said, "Out of the frying pan and into the fire, Eileen." I didn't know what else I could do. I flew, yes I did, up to Portland, and Judy and Chris picked me up there. I was so ripped on the plane. Eleanor had given me some of that crystal one good line, and I had a handful of Tom's pills. He had stayed at my place the night before. I was writing these poems up in the air, really stupid ones, all over those cocktail napkins they give you. God, they were awful. About vitamins and stuff. I was off cigarettes, which always made me particularly insane, and I had those red beads on. When did they break? I remember them breaking in Maine. Well, the two of them picked me up. I remember we went right into a bar. I think I remember having a shrimp salad sandwich and beers, and Chris was already drinking icy margaritas. The place had all lobsters up and traps and all. Then we got back in Judy's car. That night we all went to the gay bar in Augusta. Oh God, that night. We were all speeding and drunk, and it was real hot. All the men were taking their shirts off and dancing. We got mad. We wanted to take our shirts off, so we did. Everyone thought it was great except the manager and a couple of fag bartenders. Put 'em on. The men don't have to put their shirts on. Just get out. You can't be in this bar with your shirts off. Put your shirts on and get out. We did, but first we took our pants off and walked out. Chris threw a beer bottle at them too. She always had a lot of style. This is just 3 years ago. After that, everything went pretty much the same way. The night I was all amorous in the back seat of Judy's car with Dara, her ex-girlfriend. We were actually out looking for Chris, who had left us because she was looking for someone else, a man. Naturally, we were all smashed. Chris had been picked up by the cops for whatever the main initials were for operating under the influence. Understand, this was common practice to get arrested. We worked at this mill, and every morning, or pretty close, someone had been arrested for speeding, drunken driving, had an accident, got in a fight. This is baseball hat and truck country. I loved it. The men were all men, and we were all lesbians, and everyone loved to get smashed. After work, we'd sit on this big green lawn, and Casey, the boss, would put down case after case of Bud Light and Labatt's, and we'd just get crazy. Sheila was a problem. She was this big blonde girl, and she was Casey's girlfriend, and she was really interested in the fact that me and Christine were lesbians. Now, I am a sucker for paternalism. I love having a boss who's a young, good old boy. And when his girlfriend seems to want to go the other way, fascinating as it seems, and I do want to be the one she's wild about, nonetheless, I try and turn the other way. Chris stopped drinking after the arrest night. She still had to go to court. It was a small mess. I loved her not drinking. She just got prettier and prettier, all glowing, and she got rid of that bloat she was getting from beer. I've never seen it make as much difference as it did with her. Also, it was a relief. One night, I was in bed with Judy, and she came at me with a crowbar. "I'm going to reshape your head, asshole." What a frightening moment. I could see the shadow of her head, hand, and crowbar against a strong light from behind. See, I had actually been up for a week the month before and had thought it was just like Valhalla. You know, it was just like paradise. Judy has this house in the middle of all this land in Maine. And out back are sheep, bang, and she had dogs, one a black lab named Miles, and there's little kittens and hens out back, and a rooster, and fresh eggs, and beautiful breakfasts with fried potatoes and Tia Maria and our coffee in bed. The first night I was up that time, me and Chris were instantly back in love once we got drunk. And we're out in the hallway kissing each other and saying, "What about Judy?" So the three of us were in their big bed. I just happily climbed right on top of Judy. Christine didn't like that. I wasn't supposed to get so into it. It was smash battles right from the start. though only one major eruption that week. Chris had gone out running, leaving Judy and me in bed, and when she came back, something was going on that, how come you never fucking do that to me, Judy? Judy would soon get hers. Christine was an emotional tyrant. Her and I had lived together for a couple of years in New York before she came to Maine. And it took years of watching the movements of her and Judy's relationship to see just how demanding and impossible she was. I myself was a good-natured cloud which would float by and steal things and wait for praise. I could never understand why life just didn't feel substantial enough. I was sitting on your couch, or we were drinking your whiskey in my apartment. Now let's go out, I'd say. Do you have any money? I'm broke tonight. I'm really sorry.